Hello, my dear friends. My name is Katie, and I'm going to be bringing a practice of humility on your mat today. So, for humility, I just want you to think of yourself less than you might with having a prideful ego, and just give the credit rather to yourself. I want you to give it to God, because God, believe it or not, has given us so many talents, and I think we go a lot throughout our day realizing just how much God has done for us. And for the practice of focus, I took a body part that I think doesn't get much attention. We use it all the time, but we never really take the time to thank it or to massage it and kind of pay attention to it, especially while we move. So go ahead, and we're going to take a look at our feet today. If you're not able to sit in a butterfly comfortably, then I want you to get a chair or something else where you can kind of pay attention to your feet. So just prop yourself up or maybe sit a different way. When you're ready, go ahead and look at your feet. Now, you're going to take one foot first and go ahead and massage it. You can take your knuckles and kind of drag alongside the sole of the foot. You can dig in with your thumbs. However you want to send a little love to the area, go ahead. And just thank God for these amazing little feet that we are able to use every day. And if you have plantar fasciitis, you might have some tightness. It's really good to go slow and loosen up some of that scar tissue. And from here, go ahead, we're going to switch feet if you haven't already. And just really take your time working at the heels first, the sole of the foot, by the arch, and then the big ball joint of the toe, and then the little ball point of the toe, the toes. And by massaging it, it actually brings some blood flow to the area. So that's always good to help restore anything. And a lot of times you probably have heard your yoga instructor talk about grounding into all sides of your feet, or the 3 points, 4 points. People use it differently. I'm going to talk about the 3 points of your feet today. So I'm going to talk about the ball point of your foot, and the little ball point of the foot, and in the middle of the heel. So go ahead and put one foot down right on the heel. And from here, you're going to evenly spread out the weight on the big ball point and the little ball point of the toes, and then spread the toes wide. That's how I want you to ground into your mat a lot of times today. I'm not going to have you cling or clench the toes. Sometimes I see people do that. You're really just going to feel the weight on the ball points of these feet and let your toes just flare out. So go ahead with your other foot, do the same thing. Heel first, right in the middle of it, and then slowly bring your foot down, the ball point of the big toe and little toe, and spread the toes wide. And now see how much your toes move. Are you able to lift them up with ease and put them down? If you haven't really tried this before, it might take some time to connect the brain with the functions of the toes. If you need, you can always help the toes too. And when we're ready, go ahead. We're just going to come into tabletop. And from here, you're going to put the toes underneath. And you're still going to do your normal tabletop. The shoulders are on top of the wrist, knees underneath the hips. And go ahead, start to arch your way up. You might need to rock it out, go slow in the spine, and then when you're ready, doing the opposite. Letting the head hang down low. Maybe you want to stretch it out side to side again. And then connect with your breath when you're ready. Inhales to come up. Exhale down. 2 more, moving with your breath. And then from here, you're going to start to shift your weight back And you're going to give it a nice stretch on the soles of your feet. Maybe you're already feeling it and you want to stay here. If you don't feel the stretch, you can bring the butt all the way to the heels. And again, you might just stay up here or keep going into a kneeling position. You don't want to ever overstrain the soles of the feet, especially if they're not used to stretching like this. Stay for a couple breaths. You can close the eyes if you want. You can move the arms. However it feels good. Taking those nice deep breaths. And with the inhale, inviting any love and light. Exhaling you and any pride that you might have brought with you on the mat. Go ahead, start to come back into that tabletop. This time we're going to point the toes. And you're going to start to lift the knees up and just keep the toes pointed. Can rock it back and forth. Doing a point and a flex. Again, you don't need to go to any extremes. You can go somewhere in the middle of these two. Just paying attention to the feet. And then when you're ready, go ahead. We're going to go into our first downward dog. Nice and slow. Curl the toes underneath. And then start to lift the hips up. Really lengthen through that spine. Getting the hips up and back. Once you have the spine nice and set, now we're going to pay attention to our feet. Go ahead with your right foot. Start to come down. Again, even on the big ball point and little ball point of the foot. And then start to reach the heel back. You can lift the toes up a little bit. Make sure you're not clenching into them. And then when you're ready, bend that right leg. Do the same thing with the left. You can alternate legs. And then from here, we're just going to tiptoe our way all the way up to the top of the mat. On the ball points of the feet. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the legs and come all the way up for high prayer. Exhale, forward. Hands come back to the center for Samastiti. Now, anytime you're at the top of your mat, I really want you to think about feet hip width apart today. Go onto your heels. And then again, rock it forward. Ball point of the big toe and little toe. And let the toes flail out. No need to scrunch into them, let them be, but feel grounded. And now notice if your weight likes to lean forward, that you're more on the toes, or if it likes to be more on the heels, try to find that balance. And then notice too, if you like to come in and flatten out through the arches, look at what your feet do. If your feet do that, your knees start to knock in and your tailbone comes up. So these are extremes, but if you do the opposite, the knees like to flare away, and the tailbone likes to tuck. Or flare out, sorry. So even if you're off a little bit, that might be the problems of your knees or of the hips. So always be mindful of your feet and what they actually do. From here, go ahead. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, hands come down. Feet go back for that downward dog. When you're ready with your inhale, you're going to come into a plank. From here, you want to be on the balls of the feet again and send the heels back. By sending the heels back, you're going to turn on the back line of your legs. And then keep the energy of the heels going back, but you're going to start to point through the toes to lean you forward to now go into chaturanga. Halfway down, inhale's going to come up. Notice how I'm pointing the toes for this upward facing dog, really pushing into the tops of my feet. And then when you're ready, your choice, depending on how flexible your feet are, you can just roll up on top of the toes to come back into downward dog. If that hurts your feet, that's when you're just going to transition, bringing the knees down, curl the toes underneath, and then pop up. So a couple different ways for the transition with the feet. From here, we're going to take our right foot and bring it to replace that right hand Put your heel down first. Let's go slow today, noticing how you're moving in these transitions. So once the heel's grounded and feels the middle ball point, go ahead, rocking that big ball point and little one down and spread the toes wide. Feeling grounded in that front foot. Then you can stack the knee on top. And then that back foot, before you come up, is going to come down into a 45-degree angle. You do not want the heel to heel aligned here. This is warrior one. When you're ready, inhale, engage that core to come up. Strong warrior one here. See if you're clenching in the toes or if you're able to wiggle them. And this is the cool part. I'm going to share with you guys. You might get sick of me talking about feet. Bear with me. Be humble and listen. Our feet, if you go ahead and flex the foot coming onto the heel, you're going to notice, try to sink down deeper. It's hard to do. It's easier to stand up when you're on your heel, when it's flexed. Now go ahead and point the toe and see how easy it is to move the hip. That's because our feet, God has made them so beautiful that for walking, once you point it, it knows it needs to go into flexion to pick the leg up. So if you ever have a hard time going into this pose or getting the knee out, so it's not coming into midline, this is a great tip. You can go towards the ball points of the toes, set the knee, and put the foot down. We're going to go ahead and move with our breath. Arms can be up or they can be on the hips. Inhale, you're just going to come onto the toe. Exhale down. Again, inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Good. When you're ready, that back foot's going to come to a 90. Heel toe the front foot, so you're about heel to heel alignment. Still haven't lost anything in the feet, feeling grounded. Go ahead. We're going to come into warrior two. Nice long arms. Try not to lean forward. And from here, relax the shoulders down. No clenching in the feet. When you're ready, go ahead with your exhale, lean forward. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, arm comes down to the front leg, and that left one's going to come up. Now, again, notice your feet. Are you able to move those front toes? Do you feel grounded in those 3 points? That back foot, a lot of times people like to bring more attention to the outside of the foot. Still bring it to the big ball point. From here, you can stay still, or if you're able to, you can come up onto the toe again. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come on to the front toe. Exhale down. One more time. Good. From here, go ahead and lower all the way down. Front foot is going to pick up into a downward dog. Ball points of the feet are on. Maybe you get the heels on. One more breath, and with your inhale, you're going to transition into the plank. Again, send the heels back, and then point the toes. Come down with exhale, chaturanga. Inhale's going to pick you up. Exhale back, downward dog. Breathe in here. And then when you're ready, you're going to do the same thing with the left foot. Come on forward to replace that left hand. Feet are going to kick out so they're not on the same line. That front foot, hopefully, again, when you put it down, heel first and then rock the foot. So it's ball point of the big toe, little toe, evenly balanced. Go ahead, stack the knee over the ankle and come on up. Feeling grounded in both feet. Hopefully you're able to wiggle your toes yet. And then we're going to go ahead with the exhale. Hands come down to the hips. And we're going to just play around again with the front foot. Flex the foot and notice, can you bend down? Or is it kind of hard where you got to resist it? Now go ahead, come onto the ball point of the toe, and now try to sink. It's a little easier. So we're going to start to connect it with our breath. Inhale to come up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. And then from here, Go ahead, you're going to open up the arms, shift heel toe, so they're in one line, your heels. For warrior two, once your chest is square to the side of the mat, go ahead, look over your front middle finger, and breathe. With your next exhale, slowly come forward with the arms and torso. Inhale, reversing the arms. Exhale, left arm comes down, right one goes up for the extended side angle. Nice straight line. Pay attention to the toes. Hopefully they're not clenched or hanging onto the mat. Ground into the back foot, but still pushing into the ball point of the big toe. A lot of things going on. And same with the front foot. Notice where you're feeling it in all 3 points. And then go ahead, if you're able to, start to pick up the heel. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. And then go ahead, windmill the arms down. Front foot meets the back one, downward dog. And when you're ready with your inhale, come on forward. Sending the heels back, pointing the toes, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale's gonna pick you up. And exhale, back, downward dog. Good. One more breath here. And then step your way on to the front of the mat. Nice and slow, thinking of that heel first, and then the ball points the toes. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend at the knees, come all the way up, high prayer. Exhale, arms down. Back to the beginning. Now we're gonna go into some chairs. So when you're ready, inhale, arms are gonna come up again. Exhale, bend the knees and sweep the arms down just to come up into a chair. Now this is where I really want you to pay attention to the feet. If the knees are going beyond the toes, that's not good. Keep them back. So you can either sit back a little bit more or you can stand up just as long as your knees are not surpassing the toes. And notice if you're clenching on the toes, don't spread them wide. And stay here for a little bit. And breathe. One more full breath. And with your exhale, fold into your lap. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, come down, forward fold. Bend the legs and come all the way up again, high prayer. Exhale down. Good. From here, you can stay at the front of the mat. I'm just gonna show you a different view. So you want your feet about hip width apart again, spreading the toes wide. Go ahead, we're just gonna come up with our inhale onto our toes and the ball points of the feet. Now, if this is hard to do and balance, this is where you're gonna want a wall. We're just gonna hold here for a little bit, strengthening our feet, soften through the face. We're gonna start to move with our breath. So exhale is gonna bring you down. Inhale's up. Exhale down. Inhale's up. Get moving with this intention, with the breath. And when you do your inhales, thinking of Him, our Creator. Exhaling, you surrendering anything that's not serving you today. We're just going to do it with one foot now. Come onto the ball point of it. You can even go onto the tiptoes. Just kind of roll out the ankle. Maybe the toes need it. Wherever you might want to bring it. Going slow. Good. And then from here, go ahead, find the top of the mat if you haven't already. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands come down, feet go back into that downward dog. One more time when you're ready with your inhale, come on forward for the plank. Exhale, sending that toes or the heels back while you're pointing the toes. Come into the chaturanga. Inhale's gonna pick you up. Exhale, come back into the downward dog. Good. From here, go ahead. We're just gonna drop down onto our knees. Cross at the ankles and come into a seated position. So we're going to want to set up for forward fold. So the feet are going to be by each other. And if your hamstrings are still tight, it's okay to bend them. Go ahead. We're going to start to lean forward into our fold, but we're not leaning with the nose. We're rather thinking about leading with the chest and having our belly drop down first. And this is a great thing for our feet too. A lot of times if we're tight in some area, we might notice the feet like to point in and move away from each other. So pay attention to that. You want the soles of your feet to remain like they're on the ground. You can still spread the toes wide if you want to have fun with it. And then when you're ready with your exhale, surrendering into the legs, maybe hold on to the feet. Again, just make sure that they're not turning away from each other. Soften here. You can kind of rock it side to side. Whatever feels good. Just making sure you're still breathing. Those nice deep breaths. And anytime you're folded, when your belly's kind of going on the ground, this is a great time to breathe into the back line of your body. Inhales, you're going to feel the rib cage expand away from each other on the back. Exhale, releasing anything. With your next inhale, you're slowly going to start to come on up. Good. And then from here, you're going to go ahead and come into a bridge position. So roll it on back and put your feet on the floor. You're going to want the feet close enough where you can touch your fingertips with them. And the feet are going to be about hip width apart. From here, go ahead again, ground into the heels first. Think of the ball point of the big toe, little toe, and then spread the toes wide. You're still having this nice platform. And then from your arms, go ahead into the 90-degree angle. Palms face each other. Start to pick up the hips just enough to get your shoulder blades underneath each other. And then go ahead and raise the hips up even more. Pushing into the backs of the arms. Feeling grounded into the feet. Still able to wiggle those toes. And then you might just stay here. Or if you want, you can start to come up onto one toe. Or the ball points. Exhale, lowering the heel. Inhale, lifting up the other heel. Exhale down. Going with your breath. Inhale picks it up. Exhale sends the heel down. Soften through the face and your jaw. One more time on each foot if you choose to do so. Good. And then from here to come out of it, you're going to come with your hands up to the ceiling first, and then vertebrae by vertebrae, you're going to come down into the mat. Good. Go ahead, pull your knees up into your torso like a little ball and rock side to side. Now this just might feel good if you have a little bit more flexibility in the hips. You can do the happy baby. This is just where you can hold on to the outsides of the feet or the big toe, whatever you want. Go ahead. Rock it out. Then when you're ready, we're going to land in Shavasana. So you're going to let the legs go out long. But before you let them splay out, I want you to dig your heels into the mat or the ground and just kind of rock your feet, kind of like if you're pointing them and flexing them. It's just going to loosen up your body a little bit, giving a little massage. And when you're ready, you can go slower and then let them fall off to the side. Go ahead, And relax the jaw, the face, the eyes, the forehead. Working your way down, releasing the shoulders, the arms. And let them go to gravity. With your next exhale, letting the legs soften. And pay attention to your feet, the heels, the soles of the feet, the big toe, and all your little toes. Let them all release. And we're going to stay here for a little bit. No manipulation of the breath, just listening with the ears. We're going to try to stay humble while we go off of our mat. We're going to thank God for all the things that He has given us, from our feet to these beautiful bodies, and to our gifts and talents that we can do and use our body parts with. And thank Him for the gift of speech, so we can speak our mind and be kind to others. And if you really want to take humility off the mat, I encourage you to massage somebody else's feet today. Thank you for watching. You can stay in this pose as long as you would like. This is where I will leave you. Namaste.